This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you, the pit crew, you are the real star of today's show, because we are here to talk about sim racing. And happy Monday to everybody. Did you have a good weekend? Did you get out there, do some sim racing? Did you take part in the 24 Hour of LeMans race on iRacing? That was probably the biggest deal in sim racing over the weekend. I and my good buddies, we all did. I want to thank all my teammates. So 24 Hour LeMans on iRacing. Incredible race, lots of pressure, lots of preparation, lots of important things in this one, lots of bragging rights. It's a big deal, and it's a 24-hour event, so it really tests teams, drivers, cars, equipment, everything to the max, and it's always an exciting weekend, and that was the highlight of my weekend. So again, now I do want to thank my fellow drivers, my friends, my buddies. We all put in so much work. We worked as a team together, and I'll talk a little bit about the race, but Phil Scrutton, Mike Hammett, James Dowling, Stan Donnett, Tyson Landis, Moses Choi, Amir Assad, Joa Antonio, and I all shared one car. So all of us into one car for the 24-hour race, changing off every 1 hour drivers. Everybody just, no one even asked preferred time. Everyone ran it every hour, it seems. I ended up putting in 4 hours of the race, and just we had a good and bad day. So let's talk about it. Is the beard making a comeback? That's a good question, Dave. I don't know. That's the best answer. Maybe. It might be. It's bothering me, and I'm really lazy, so I just haven't felt like shaving. So I have to admit, it's happening out of laziness, but it might be here to stay again. It might be making a comeback. So, 24-hour race. You'd think there was like 1,000 teams involved in the race. So, it's a big deal. It brings out everybody's best. Very few people show up unprepared, and many teams put in over a month, maybe even 2 months of practice in order to prepare for the race. So it's a big deal. We did as well. We put in well over a month of practice. Thank you. Who needs more beard? All right. The beard might have to make a comeback. We'll see. I have a trade show I'm working next week, so I'm not sure if I can do the beard. I might have to shave it for the trade show and then bring it back. Right now, it's just out of laziness because of the 24, I think. But so we put in a month of practice, 6 weeks of practice. And we had a lot of people sharing the car. So a lot of drivers that we had to make happy in order, to do well in the race. So we erred on the side of cautious and went with a setup that was very, very comfortable, very easy to drive, felt good. You could put the car anywhere you needed to do, and for a 24-hour endurance race, that seemed like the right choice. Now, in our defense, that is the right choice most times. However, Le Mans being such a big track, in the end, I think we were running a little too much downforce. So I actually qualified the car. We were put in grid 11 of 17, so about midway, a little lower than mid, which is, wow, a 2600i rating only gets you 11th split at this point. But with that said, there's a little luck of the dice right when they're picking splits, because we were the 50th ranked car, which means 5 positions lower, we would have been the first ranked car in the 12th split and probably had a good shot at the win. However, we were the 50th ranked, which meant almost all the teams ahead of us were better than us, supposedly, going by rank. So that made it for a tough day, starting in 50th place, and I started the car out, and by the end of the first straightaway, I thought to myself, oh, wow, we really missed the setup, because cars were just driving right by me, and if I drafted somebody, I could pull up next to them as soon as I got into the wind, no more progress on advancing past them, and I thought, wow, we have a really slow car, and we're going to be here for 24 hours in a really slow car. Dave Blair, say my name, Shaun Heisenberg. You're damn right. What up, Cranky? What up, Dave Blair, Tom Jones? I appreciate the input on the bearded or not. Thank you very much. Anyway, so with that said, we still had a car that would be very easy to drive. So everybody's going to be able to, get around and do well. So I spent the first half of my stint driving maybe at 80% of what I can do, well off my pace, 2 to 3 seconds slower than I'm capable of under the weather conditions. But I wanted to make sure we got the car going clean, got the race underway. No matter where I finished up, we'd have 23 hours to go. But if the car was in good shape, I'd feel good about it. So I really didn't advance. I think in the end, I might have given up some spots and then gained them back and pretty much handed the car back over in the position that I was. Anyway, I'm not going to tell the entire story because you could have watched the 24-hour stream, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it throughout the week. But ultimately, we did well. We just started moving up spaces a little bit here, a little bit there. Other teams were running into trouble. We had a good plan, consistent drivers, and even though we were slow, we just kept picking up a spot here and there. And then at about the 12-hour mark, 13-ish, there was an incident. One of our drivers spun the car, which is going to happen. Didn't even hit anything, but he was nosed up against the wall, which meant his only option was to back up. And, at Le Mans, closing speeds are amazing. So he backed up and just got walloped by an LMP. It wasn't the LMP's fault. He certainly had no idea that our car was going to be there. Amir might not have had any better options other than take a real long time, which in retrospect probably would have been better. But that ruined our engine. And then we went from slow to running 355s all the way back to running 409s, like somewhere between 10 to 15 seconds off the pace. And here's where I'm just going to tell you how proud I am of our guys. A car that is 10 to 15 seconds off the pace, out of contention, and not one person said, let's throw in the towel. At one point I was on the radio with the guys, and I asked, are we dangerous? That was my concern. Are we now a danger to other drivers? Are we so off the pace that it's going to be hard to judge what we're doing? And everybody said, no, we seem to be fine there. And so the call was to go with it. And anyway, a few hours later, our engine blew. We towed back to pit lane. They amazingly fixed the engine. And then I think we got a full-powered engine but had a slightly damaged car that was capable of running maybe 4 seconds off the pace. Much more fun to drive. So we were able to finish with a car that was at least decent to drive. But me and those guys, we brought it home. We brought it to the checkered line. We finished in 28th position overall. 18th in class, I believe. So it was not a great result. We did not set the world on fire with lap times, but with that many drivers, everybody just kept putting in their stints, doing the job, and finishing the race. And I am very proud of us all. The pit stop, or the Simpit, is very proud of us all. And I'm sure Rick Motec, our main sponsor, who I'd love to thank, because Rick Motec really helps our team out. I'm sure they're very impressed with the way we did it and conducted ourselves as well. So my hat's off to you guys. It's always a pleasure to share a car with you guys. And I guess in 3 weeks we have Watkins Glen, so it's already time to get gung-ho for that one. 6-hour race should be a totally different mindset. Anyway, that is the end of my Le Mans talk for the day. I don't want to make this all about Le Mans. We are here to talk about the sim racing news. Yes, rip that cushion. Rip the cushion. That is a great point. We finished with, I believe, only 38 incidents. So even if you went to the strictest of rules that iRacing has ever implemented, which was last year's Friday night race of 50 incidents, we still, despite getting walloped, which is like, I don't know, is that a 10x by the time it's all said and done? We still only had 38 incidents, probably one of the best in the whole grid. If you were to do an incident count, I'm assuming that we were up there and did really well. I only got 2 incidents after 4 hours of driving, so I was very happy with the way I performed, for sure. Yeah, going that slow, at least everyone got to see. You could read our logos on that car. Absolutely. Yeah, Tim Spatial Dragon also mentions all the drivers did a great job and the spotting really well done as well. Not only was somebody there at all times, 24 hours of drivers, obviously. We had 24 hours of spotters. So of those drivers' names who I named, I'm going to give everyone credit one more time. Joe Antonio, Amir Assad, Moses Choi, Tyson Landis, Stan Donnett, James Dowling, Mike Hammett, Phil Scrutton, and me. All of us filled in. Didn't matter. I went to bed and woke up at 2 in the morning in order to be there for the end of the race and available to spot and everybody. We had spotters We had backup drivers. Everyone was there for the whole 24. It was a stellar effort, you guys. I'm so proud. Terrible results, and I am so proud. And then the last thing I am going to say before we do move on to the news, I am wrecked. I don't know about you guys. I see a few other people talk about running in the 24. So the race finished at 6:30 in the morning, my time. Yes, Stan Donnet did run the fastest lap for the team. Very well done, Stan. And I think a few others were pretty close. We had a really tight group of guys. We were all very similar lap times. I thought yesterday I have so much work to do, and yesterday I couldn't do anything. I woke up at 6:30, or I finished the race at 6:30, went to bed for a couple hours, woke up with just wiped out. Nothing. Zero energy. Waited, then I was famished and needed food, and then I napped, and then when I woke up I had a headache, and like my shoulders are killing me. I got a pinched nerve under my shoulder blade. Oh, I'm a wreck, and just now starting to feel a little human again. Anyway, that is the end of our 24-hour Le Mans. I want to congratulate all of the teams who participated. If you had the balls to put a team together and sign up for this, then you deserve a pat on the back. If you finished the race, you deserve a pat on the back. And if you finished on the podium in class or in any of the race rooms, I applaud you, because that is not an easy job, and it's what we were all shooting for, and we didn't achieve it. Anyway, all right, on with the news. We've talked about Lionheart Racing Series because I've been running in there. I didn't get to see the outcome at Motegi because of a horrible incident. Ran into the back of somebody horribly bad on lap 11 at Motegi. Red hot Adam Blocker. Dude, this guy wins on the oval. He wins on the road courses. He cannot be stopped. Even Sage Karam doesn't have an answer for Adam Blocker this season. But anyway, he wins another race at Motegi after winning back-to-back races at Detroit. So job well done to him. There's a write-up here at Lionheart. You can see his paint job, Adrenaline Motorsports. Anyway, this guy's a monster. He scares me. He's so good. Oh, look, SMC. I think that's Sam Maxwell Customs, not Shaun Michael Cole. All right, what else? Little spot or shout out for the 24-hour Le Mans main split winners. So in the big boy, P1 class was won by Coanda Simsport. P2 class by Core Sim Racing, and the GTE class was won by William eSport. Well done, Williams. They won the 120 race as well in the BMW, so they are on fire. They are hooked up in that car. What else? iRacing now, off of the new racing news and on to the fun stuff. Today is the beginning of week 13, right? So tomorrow could be the new build. Tomorrow could be weird. Tomorrow will be truck day if that's the case. But the new Pro 2, Pro 4 trucks are gonna be in this build, and any day they're calling it next week's build. But I mean, we've seen it as soon as Tuesday. Don't know if it'll happen tomorrow. We'll be watching, and we'll be downloading and playing as soon as these trucks come in. Cannot wait. In addition to that, they have a video showing the new Silverstone circuit coming in the June build as well. This is an updated version of the layout. Wonder if it'll help me. I was driving an Assetto Corsa Competizione. I still lose my bearings at Silverstone. My worst track, for sure. Yeah, I saw. So we were talking about that, Ola. We were talking about that Le Mans coming out in our Discord channel this morning. Very much looking forward to that. Let's see here. Assetto Corsa. So there was a hotfix. So brand new game. We always talk about a new title coming out, needing to get some public feedback, and then we usually do see a patch. Usually the first patch is the patch they knew about before it went into, like, however they're distributing it. So at some point in development, they had to say, okay, button it up, send it over to Steam. Button it up, send it over to wherever is going to distribute the files, because we need to call it a day. And that is the release version. And that might have even happened days or weeks before the release date. Well, they already know they're still working on things, still building the product. And so anyway, ACC Hotfix 1.01 now live. This could have been stuff that was being worked on prior to the release. Just keep that in mind. There is a full list of release notes at Steam if you'd like to know everything. Some general changes, multiplayer changes, already some ratings tweaks, graphics tweaks, UI tweaks, AI, and audio. Not sure if it fixes. I mean, I've seen a few different people have told me about getting lock-up screens, heard of some audio issues. Overall, it seems like things have worked fairly well. Don't see anything on true triple screen support. That seems to be another gripe that a lot of people are having about the title. How can the movie I'm in and not Ben Affleck? I thought they were a pair. I would say Matt Damon. It looks like they both had different peaks of their career, but Matt Damon seems to be getting a little more longevity out of it, perhaps. Brad Pitt. All right, lots of talk on that movie. See, we're all into racing, man. It's not just sim racing; it's everything. All right, what else? With today being the first, or actually today's the third, but we always on the first or the last day of the month, usually May 31st, we got a roadmap update for R Factor 2. Probably the shortest write-up of all the updates they've done in quite some time, but it doesn't mean that there's not a lot to it. So we're now looking at our own version of Le Mans, 13.6 kilometers. We all know this track now, whether you raced it or watched it. You know Le Mans, but now it'll be part of the R Factor 2. Some other things going on, talking about the McLaren Shadow project, which we talked about last week, as that is now kicking off once again. New UI. UI itself, we are still very busy under the hood working on fixing bugs. One big feature we can announce is the launcher, as you know it, a separate application sitting on our desktop, will now have all of its features fused into the game UI. This means no extra interface to deal with. Let's just hope they make it easy to navigate. R Factor's always been plagued by this, a UI where you're like looking everywhere and for the life of you can't find the button that allows you to do this or that, and all of a sudden you're feeling like your mom and you can't find something that's like right in your face. It's right there on the screen somewhere. Just somehow they make it invisible. I don't know how they do it so well. What else? A couple deals to know about. On Friday, me and Billy talked about Dirt Rally being on sale. Apparently, there are a few other places, so there's a link at their Twitter page. If you haven't picked up Dirt Rally and you can get it on a deal, it gets a full recommendation from me, especially on a discount. So those links seem to be still active, at least as of the 31st they were. Don't know how long that's going to go on. Also, huge deal. Save 75% on F1 2018. So I know F1 2019 is about to come out, relatively speaking. I'm not sure if I saw ACC on sale or not. Might be a little early. I thought I saw somewhere that was saying it was on sale, but then when you looked, it really actually was the actual price. It wasn't, in fact, on sale. Anyway, you can pick up F1 2018 if you'd like. We talk about Madden titles. I always use my brother as an example here. My brother plays, FIFA soccer, for example, but he's playing, 2017 or 18 right now, not FIFA 2019. He always likes to buy 1 or 2 years, and he actually literally stays. So when the new one comes out, he advances to the next new one in his lineup because it just got even cheaper. If those are your feelings on the F1 series, which I can totally understand somebody thinking and feeling that way, well, now's the time. 75% off is pretty darn cheap. What does that make it, like $15? This just posted at Codemasters F1 Games. We can't wait to see you all in the Pro Draft. Congratulations to all of you. See who's made it. So they have a link there that'll tell you everybody who's involved. These are the 30 people who are qualified in, but there are still spots being added into that. The other thing we talked about, Sonic, I'm ruining his name, I can disclaim it today, being dropped from his team and silly season beginning kind of thing. What teams are going to keep their drivers? What teams are going to make moves? What teams are going to fill in those third driver slots? And now, as we've been talking about, we have the addition of Ferrari. Ferrari now part of the lineup, so all of the real-life F1 teams are now involved, including Ferrari, And that could make it an even more interesting draft, as they, as far as I know, don't have any official drivers yet versus the other teams. I'm not sure. Are they cleaning the slate, or do the teams keep their drivers? I mean, we read that article about him being dropped, which would be implying that they get kept. So we'll see. Lots to come. You can find out more through the F1 games from Codemasters' Facebook page or Twitter page. SRS starting off a new season starting today. So if you're looking for good racing and Raceroom, see, I'm wearing my Raceroom shirt today. If you're looking for good racing and Assetto Corsa, you're definitely going to want to check out sim racing systems. One of the biggest problems for me in sim racing, and one of the biggest reasons I'm such an iRacing advocate, is because one of my biggest gripes of sim racing is I buy all this equipment, I buy my sim, and then the next or real question is, now what do I do? You know, you can try to hunt down leagues, which is sort of a dated concept. I mean, they still go, they still thrive, but we're in the multiplayer, we're in the massive multiplayer world, you know, and then it's like, do I just get into the normal matchmaking stuff, and then we're hoping on, you know, dependent on Assetto Corsa Competizione, copying iRacing with a infrastructure that allows us to be inspired to race or matchmake against the people we belong with. And those days are coming, but we're still at that, what do I do with my favorite sim? Where do I go race it? Where do I really challenge myself? One of the reasons I'm such a big fan of leaderboards is because of the lack of sanctioned racing going on. That's the key word, sanctioned racing. Sim Racing Systems is all about that. It's somewhere halfway between a league and an iRacing type of mentality, but they are starting up the new season. I haven't been there in a little while. I ought to get back to it. Anyway, the Simpit, thank you, Shaun, C-Brand, and Pro Sim TNT for carrying the torch there, but the Simpit series will be running Saturday and Sundays, 1800 GMT, and it looks like they are now in the IndyCar. That's the IndyCar, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that an IndyCar? Shaun, are you here? Is that an IndyCar? I think you probably sent me an email, but that would be starting up this coming Saturday. Other series start up today, with today being the beginning of the whole new season. What else to talk about? Raceroom. Two different things. They are at the VW GTI Mecca at Lake Wörthersee. I think I got that one right. In Austria. That was probably over the weekend. It was posted May 31st. In addition to that, they've got Roman Dumas visiting the Raceroom Cafe at Nürburgring to take you on board for a lap of Nürburgring Nordschleife in the VW. Remember that Hotlap leaderboard challenge? Here's him giving it a go at the Raceroom Cafe. So cool video. You can check that out on your own time on YouTube. At Volkswagen Motorsport actually posted it, but he's at the Raceroom Racing Cafe. I'm sorry, I just had to hear his intro. Look at that G29 racing wheel on those rigs. Forza has their week in the review. I'm not going to go through it too much, but just so you guys can know about it in case you want to know what's going on in the world of Forza. That includes Horizon and Motorsport, both versions. Various live streams they're going to be doing. Update coming as well for June. Spring events going on. Oh, look at that beautiful. That's a great image right there. That is great. That looks like the kind of like lithograph that you'd be able to buy and put up on your wall. And there's their calendar of various different events. Brickyard Bounty Hunter with the old school IndyCar. That could be fun. Wow, looks like they're going to have some real life IndyCar drivers. Jack Harvey, James Hinchcliffe, Connor Daly, Joseph Newgarden, Spencer Peugeot, Simon Pagenaud, Colton Herra, Santino Ferrucci, and Matthew Least. I'm sorry, I got hung up there. Someone correct me. Santino Ferrucci. Isn't that friggin' idiot who is texting or reading a text going down pit lane in like an F3 car, and they threw him out at F3? And then IndyCar being so lowly on the scale of legitimate driving that they're like, oh, you have a wallet? Sure, you can drive IndyCar. Ooh. Oh, some shots fired right there. Boom, boom! But if I'm not mistaken, that's Santino Ferrucci, who I am not a big fan of. I don't know if you guys got I don't know if you guys saw through my cloaked wording there, but yeah, not a big fan of him. GT Sport. I saw a couple articles talking about GT Sport. 2 years of support and going strong. And one of the topics that we do talk about here on our show often is the amount of support various companies' titles give their software and how long they continue to give you DLC or free DLC or updates to the title. I have nothing negative to say. GT Sport, you could even argue, was this a real Gran Turismo edition? Because they've always played games with GT6, GT5, GT4, and then various little spin-off versions. I can't even remember the last one that we played forever, which was awesome. It's like a full-blown version of GT, but they're like, yeah, but that's not the real one. GT Sport, it's like, you had to wonder, is this even the real Gran Turismo, so to speak? And as Cranky Pants, yes, they are the king of free DLC. I mean, Goodwood, they just threw in 2 years later, they just throw in, here, Goodwood, here, have another track. They're constantly making updates, cars, tracks, UI changes, physics changes, graphics optimizations. I will give Sony credit for being maybe one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to supporting their $50 title, $60 title. You buy the game, 2 years later, you're still getting free content, updates, tournaments, eSport things. That is what it's all about, and I'd like to see that from everybody across the board. And I'm not saying that others don't do it. I just think, like Cranky Pants said, they are the kings of free DLC. Oh, Tim Spatial Dragon asks, will there even be a GT7, Gran Turismo 7? I think there will be. I'm assuming this is sort of like a PS5 type of a thing. But who knows? Yeah, but maybe not. Who's to say? Who's to say? I don't think that they are following any rule book other than their own. I don't think they're trying to conform to the norms of the gaming industry as much as many other companies might. Tom Jones, Dan Granawalt saying, if you don't like our game, go play something else. That's a great sales philosophy in general. If you have confidence in your product. So a couple different announcements out of Gran Turismo GT Sport, the Championship 2019 Manufacturer Series. Stage 1 is now here. We talked about it a while ago. It is now here. Common for all days, 3 time slots, 16, 1800, and 2100. 16 superstars, hosting hours, blah, 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 blah. So that's going on in the Manufacturing Cup. In addition to that, they have the Champions Nation Cup round stage 3. So this one's been going, I guess. I'm not sure about the stagger. Forgive me for not being on top of that a little more. In addition to that, the Star Player Selection Notice and how they're doing that. Eligibility events from the Nations Cup and Manufacturing Cup. Anyway, there you go. All that detail, you'll find that at the GranTurismo.com US GT Sport news page. Oh, here we just had, so the latest, this is back to what I was saying earlier, but, update 1.39 brings you the franchise debut of the Goodwood Motor Circuit and more. Download it and start racing your favorite modern, vintage, and concept cars around the historic circuit today. And that's really awesome because that's one of the things that I love about sim racing. When Goodwood happens or it's not always during the main event, you'll see various different cars and drivers, almost not as famously as you'll see it happen at Nordschleife, but all of a sudden it'll be just some other driving opportunity. It'll be the new McLaren at Goodwood or something along those lines. This allows you to now do that. Pick your car, pick your Goodwood, pick your favorite car era for Goodwood and give it a go. Just mentioning this so you can go check it out. This is what the last lap action at NASCAR Heat, so their pro league for the Xbox race. You can see a good lead out front right here by that guy, and he's doing a great job. Look at it, and then guys in the back. Oh, big crash into the wall back there in the back, but doing his best to break the draft. And what I'm liking about watching this is I will give it a little bit of credit. As much as I've trashed Heat 3 from the looks of the way he is using that draft to hold off and help both the low and high line, like we're seeing on the heavy draft tracks that we didn't used to necessarily see from video gaming that emulated the real life thing. So good job there. Just still that limited amount of crowd. It looks very arcadey. I think for eSport, maybe that's fine. But for me, I'm hoping, when I'm looking at eSport, and like when John Hill and I went to the Visa Vegas race in Las Vegas for CES, my concern about that event was how it looked to people who've never seen sim racing before. And when they see it for the first time up on the big screen, do they think to themselves, oh, well, that looks arcadish and clownish and goofy? Or do they think, oh, wow, that looks real, and I had no idea that you could do that? And whenever I'm thinking eSport, that's what I'm really thinking. And for me, it's a combination now that it's being put on television, but it's a combination of how does the game look? How do the drivers conduct themselves? Because exploits in the game might affect the way they handle the racing moments. And then lastly, how is it presented to the public? The packaging, the announcers, the camera work, things like that. Yes, there are Visa signs lining every single straightaway and corner but it was a made-up track. So since it was a made-up track, they had certain liberties to take there. And it was $1 million as well. They did pay for the sponsorship. And so when I look at the Heat 3, my concern being, well, this doesn't look real. Everything from the camera view, like what camera is this? Is there a 100-foot pole off the front of that Oscar Mayer car? Is there a pace car they're all following that has a camera on a 100-foot pole up in the air? That's not a realistic angle. You need to use realistic angles for it to look real. Do you think that's fair? Am I judging too critically? Should we be able to utilize things that we don't have in real life because we are games? And maybe we're superior because I can have a drone that can hold its spot perfectly. But anyway, I prefer when I watch eSport level racing to see what I would see on Sunday watching IndyCar, Formula One, NASCAR, whatever pick your favorite discipline. I'd like to see them doing a better job of emulating. Yeah, it's a selfie cam. Very well said. All right, couple more things. We've talked about this. Just to make it official, Motorsports talking about it. Ferrari finally, and I think that's fair wording, joins Formula One eSport series. So good for you for Ferrari being the last one on it. They probably thought they could start their own and then decided it wasn't worth it. Autosport talking about Veloce earning the final Le Mans eSport series wild card spot. So they've been doing various different qualifiers for what's going to be the biggest in this whole series. This is the Forza official eSport series that is going on. So this is a big deal there. Car Mechanic Simulator achievement list was revealed through True Achievements. Don't know if any of you guys are playing that game. I've had fun with the game Wrench, which is similar to. I haven't played this one yet, but I think I might even own it. I think I literally own this, but have not. Tom Jones, the Formula One rigs you are referring to are the Playseat Formula chassis. Yes, I have driven that chassis. It is not bad. It is one of the better play seats. There are only 2 play seats that I think are actually pro level. And funny enough, they both end up being astronomical amount of money. This one and then their metal, it originally was the Top Gear. I don't know what they call it now. And that thing's like $2,000. It's not a bad rig. I hate center post rigs. So it's still plagued by being a play seat style center post. And you can see like that's Graham Carroll there on the left. And you can see the center post, that white piece of rig going between his legs. For taller guys like Graham Carroll, that guy's like 6'15". For taller guys, it's not as big a deal because you have more distance between the pedals and that post and the seat and that post. For a shorter driver like me, you're wrapped around it. And, I used to go-kart even, but our sim pedals are very narrow for the most part. My go-kart pedals are more like that. So even though I had a full gas tank right there, I could still do that with no problem. Getting to sim pedals is a whole different thing, and unless you're like bow-legged from riding horses, my body doesn't bend that way and operate pedals perfectly. So, yeah, but it's not a bad rig at all. I have nothing really bad other than the center post. It's a comfortable rig. It's a beautiful rig. It is a little expensive. They call me Mellow Yellow. Look at that. Isn't that the City Chevy right there? This is kind of funny. This made me laugh, and the only reason it was sent in to me, thank you, Thawman, for sending in news all the time. Everybody out there should applaud and thank Thawman. Thawman is daily sending me like 20 of these stories. Half of them probably come from me. Half of them probably come from him. This one came from him, and it made me laugh. This was my laugh of the day. Crumple Zone is a spiritual successor to Destruction Derby and is now available on Steam. And I'm like, wow, how old does this game look to you? They're even talking about arcade crashing games of the 90s and 2000s. Just because you're making a retro game, do you have to make it look retro? Can't you take the essence of the game and make it modern? But then again, if you did that, wouldn't you just have Wreckfest? Anyway, this made me laugh because this just looks so dated. I'm like, wow, how old is this game? This looks like 1990. Just Friday, we were talking force feedback. Just Friday, we were talking about, do you need it? Is it even making you faster? I am reviewing a load cell mod for the Thrustmaster pedals. That'll probably be out tonight even, maybe tomorrow. Tonight, maybe tonight, definitely by tomorrow. And it's a great... Tom Jones! Thank you so much, buddy. For Thawman. Yes, he's such a big part of this show behind the scenes. Twisted Metal. Yes, that was a great smash 'em up type game. Anyway, in that review, I kind of really hammer on Thrustmaster for neglecting their pedals. But what I do talk about is, going back 20 years, their technology for making a steering wheel was a bungee cord. And anyway, GameStop talking about the Thrustmaster Ferrari 458 Spider racing wheel with true bungee. Wheelbase featuring the bungee cord mechanism. 240 degrees of rotation with bungee cord resistance. Anyway, I do mention that, funny enough, in my review being 20 years old, and here we are in 2019, and Thrustmaster's still selling a bungee wheel. Pretty funny. Great deals on some other steering wheels, though. So, looks like Amazon Prime is selling the G29 for $211, the 920 for $218. That's a pretty good deal. We did see them down to $188 a while ago, but I think that was like a one-day sale. All right, a couple new rigs on the market. Amazing how 10 years ago, if I even talked about a motion rig, I'd be talking about it for a rich guy or in a sim center. And they'd come from, you know, these exclusive companies like CXE Simulations or Sim Experience. And Sim Experience has made them pretty darn affordable. And with that, we've seen the spawning of a bunch of different companies coming in at, I'm not going to say them all affordable, because like a D-Box rig isn't, I wouldn't call a D-Box rig affordable, but I would say that they are obtainable. Like, if you're obsessed with sim racing and you have a decent job, anyone could buy a D-Box. They're not outrageously priced. Anyway, the SR1, an affordable 3 degree of freedom rig, full write-up here at Hardware News and Reviews blog. I should try to get one of these. It's hard to get those kind of rigs sent to you for review because they are astronomically expensive, but you can check that out if you're just looking for some eye candy or entertainment at the work. Mr. Thawman's in the house. Thank you, buddy. If you didn't hear me earlier, thank you so much for all your hard work sending in stories. And Mr. Thawman actually retired from doing that post, the job of sending me news a year ago, and hasn't missed a day since. I owe you, buddy. You make the show. You are the real star of the Simpit pit stops. Cool rigs to look at. I do this to motivate you. What can you do to your rig? What can you take away from their rigs? Do you like his acrylic case? You're like, hey, I like that. If I'm going to have all that RGB, I might as well be able to see it. Anyway, we've got here, what kind of rig is this? This GT Omega? Is that a GT Omega? With the AccuForce, people often ask me, like, hey, is my rig strong enough for an AccuForce? Great question. This rig doesn't even look like it's the sturdiest rig in the world, but he's got an AccuForce on there. Some Fanatic pedals. Who posted that, by the way? These are just posted on Reddit. So, Birador, Birador. There's his rig. Yep, it's a GT Omega. I got it right. My eyes didn't deceive me. Yeah, see, it's a nice clean room. That's the kind of stuff I like looking at and seeing too. Here, that's a P1 rig, right? Let's see here. This is from CC Adino. Sounds fairly Italian. And that's his SimLab. Yeah. Oh, it says it right here on the seat headrest. That's kind of a elaborate seat for sim racing. What are you guys' thoughts on that? You know, yeah, we want realism, right? Sometimes I get in a seat that has like the extra like head protection that only makes sense for protecting your head in a crash. I'm kind of more minimalistic when it comes to my seat. The seat is the point that I have contact, my body in the seat. It's where I tend to heat up because of that contact. And I don't know, I kind of have a little bit of a less is more approach when it comes to my seat on a sim rig. Yeah, I like the blue, and I like the stitching, and I like the authenticness. I like the covering, the black covering here where your hands for getting in and out. Love the vacuum next to the rig. Yeah, well, because it looks like this has just been put together, if I'm not mistaken. Nice looking rig, though, no doubt about it. Another P1 rig. Look at that. Lots of P1 rigs. You know, I love these P1 rigs, but just so you guys know, just in case this has been missed on you guys, maybe I need to do another 80/20 rig. You know, you can buy that stuff on your own. You don't have to pay for the kit. Now, they have some nice add-on pieces like wheel mounts and solutions that you don't have to come up with on your own. But to me, an 80/20 rig is one of the best DIY rigs you can build. It's forever changeable. Like, you want a GT rig? Cool, build it in a GT rig position. You want an F1 rig? Cool, build it in an F1 rig position. It's endless options, and you can just buy it. If you're in America, go to McMaster Car. They just sell the stuff. 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. What kind of hardware do you want? So, not to take anything away from P1, because they are great rigs, and I have a bunch of friends who have bought them and love them. But you can do it yourself. Sorry. Congratulations in order. This is my last real story of the day. Congratulations are in order to Michi Hoyer and their ability to qualify into the WCS League. Read this article, and I sent Michi a congratulations over the weekend because I saw his post about it. But those guys are now in the WCS League, and we will be able to stay up on their latest eSport effort. So, again, congratulations to you, Michi. Oh, Lionheart! Lionheart in with a big donation. This is Simpit, my best 300. This is Simpit. This is Simpit. How's that? I did that for you there, Lionheart. Anyway, congratulations to Michi, and forgive me, Michi. I actually stopped telling half the story because all of a sudden it struck me. Who were you racing with? I can't even give credit where credit is due. So anyway, congratulations, and we'll see and hear more from Michi on that. They're running that Megan. They're running in the Meghan Markle. Anyway, that's coming up. Beyond that, I am not going to necessarily, actually, I'll play it as I mention it. It is now too late, so there is no point in sending them in now. I would have had this up. Lionheart again. Oh my God, look at that. There we go. We're looking at the Clown Shaun, the Shaun meme contest entries. A few more have come in before Friday. Lots of guys have had fun making fun of me. The winner is going to get a Simpit collection of gear, loot box we'll call it. All that gear coming to them free from me as the winning prize. So what I need your help from, Pit Crew, I thought I had a place where I could post all of these so that everybody could vote. And then it turns out the place that I know only lets you put up like 5 or 6 images. And I have at least 20 entries for the contest. Winning entry will be printed and worn by me on a t-shirt form for an entire month. They're all funny for various different ways. This has been one of the most fun contests for me because I have laughed my ass off. Well, now you're going to get to see all of them and vote on the winner. And your vote will count because it's going to determine who gets the Simpit loot box. It's also going to determine what shirt I wear for all of eternity. No, for a month, but I'll be proud to wear it. Cole Trickle is really one of the great ones out there. Anyway, too late to send in your picks. So if you thought of one and you were going to do it and you didn't get around to it Friday. Oh, the other question, like that one there, that's my entry. That was an image that one. The one of me and Jeff Gordon at running Burning Man was done by me. I think I have to exclude my entries. I don't think it's fair to leave my entries in, or I could give the prize to the second person if my entry won. I don't know. Your thoughts on that? And anybody who knows somewhere that I can post 20 pictures to let people vote on, please, please, please email me, Shaun, SHAUN, at thesimpit.com. Shaun at thesimpit.com. I really need help on this one. So if you know somewhere that I can post 20 pictures and let the world vote, that one, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to skew the voting at all. All of these have been very entertaining. I've laughed my ass off. I hope it's brought a smile to your Monday. But that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your conversation. You guys entertained me with your thoughts on Daytona. We get to talk about the news each and every day, and that makes this such a special show for me and why I love being here each and every day. Well, Monday and Wednesdays doing this, and with Billy's on Fridays. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to thumbs up. Be sure to tell a friend so we can continue to grow. This is The Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.